this is Velocity Kinetics first video. I'm Chris, co-run with Russ. This blog is mostly about technological innovation in road cars and on the racetrack, hence why Velocity and Kinetics. Looking into things like EcoBoost, what Ford would call EcoBoost, smaller turbocharging, Formula E, and of course the new changes in Formula 1. This video is about the changes in Formula 1. Now we're starting off with a massive rule change, of course. First full overhaul since 2009, change to the front wing, change to the rear wing, no exhaust blown diffuser, single exit for the exhausts, thank God for that. But most importantly, change to the energy recovery and of course to the engines. Now engines have gone from 2.4 V8s to 1.6 V6 turbos, with the energy recovery system able to run for 33 seconds a lap. Now, I myself still a little bit in the camp of they could have changed the 2.4s into something slightly better, so they could have turbocharged them or made them more fuel efficient. Turbocharging could have put them back to V10 levels of insanity. But you know, the 1.6 V6s sound good. If you've listened to any of the testing or watched anything related to testing, it's all been sounding pretty nice. Now, moving on to testing, there have been a few main problems. One, Renault and Red Bull. Obviously Renault though, that's the main problem, is that Red Bull are not doing very well. Mercedes seems to be on top. Yes, yes, Mercedes are doing okay, and Ferrari have been a bit anonymous. But we'll just have a quick run through the teams. So we'll go through the Renault power teams first, which is Red Bull, Lotus, Toro Rosso and Caterham. Red Bull have been having a few problems, as it's been well documented. Now, I'm not a massive Red Bull fan, but to be honest, you cannot do 4 championships in a row and expect to waltz off into a 5th like they've done. They've won 2 absolute dominating championships in 2013 and 2011. So, you know, it's time for a change. It's good to see them struggling. It will be the real making of that team, and it will be the real making of Sebastian Vettel. I'm not a massive fan of the guy. Although that said, he's had the best car. He's done what he was meant to do with the best car, and that is win in that fashion. So you know, I can't begrudge him doing his job of winning. Now, Daniel Ricciardo's taking place of Mark Webber, which is always a good sign, as in promoting the young guy up into the top team. Red Bull themselves are a little concerned. Sorry, I do apologise. Red Bull are a little concerned about being able to turn it around. From what I read on F1 Times this morning, they reckon about 2 months behind schedule. So we'll see whereabouts they are. That said, the Red Bull has got a very tight rear end on it. All the last photos I saw of it did have a very tight rear end on it, so it's not very good for cooling. Adrian Newey put in aerodynamics ahead of anything else, which, if you believe what the old man says in Enzo Ferrari, aerodynamics are for people who can't build engines. I can see where the old man was coming from. If your cars are not very aerodynamic, you just crank out more power so it bashes its way through the air. But we'll see. That team will come good by the end of the year, I think. Unfortunately by the end of 2014, Red Bull will be back to their old winning ways. But we'll see what they can do. Lotus, or Renault as I often tend to call them, I've been calling them that old Mordo since, what's his name, Don Martram, from him at F1, Domkov Kid, on Twitter. I hadn't thought about calling them, continue to call them this until that, but Lotus, Renault, whatever you want to call them, the black and gold team, they've got Pastor Maldonado to plug a hole in their budget with their Venezuelan oil company, PDVSA, which is a state-owned oil company. Whether that funding is going to stay though, I don't know, because that was all put into place when Hugo Chavez was president of Venezuela, but we'll see. It's good for him to get a new challenge. I always liked the guy. There are quite a few occasions though when I thought, you idiot, you shouldn't have done that, why did you do that, why did you say that? But it's good to see him have a new challenge, and it'll be good to see Roman take on team leader role within there as well. But where was I? Yes, the Lotus looks okay. I don't understand the idea behind their walrus nose. It's not like it's like the FW26, which had 2, which obviously, if you remember, however, having sort of a normal nose mounting coming down to a point and then brackets nose, the FW26 had a wide nose, 2 prongs, came down to hook onto the nose. So I'm not sure why they're calling it a walrus. I can't see the aerodynamic advantage behind it. If someone could tell me how it would work, then yeah, that's fine, but I just can't see it. But they're in a good position to be the Renault factory team again. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to Toro Rosso, that's got the most phallic nose of the grid. They've been a bit anonymous in testing, mostly because they've not been able to get a huge amount of running done, although more than Red Bull. We'll see how they cope with the change to the to a Renault engine, having had Ferrari previously. But I'll be interested to see what they can do. They need to score some points. You can always count them to steal a couple of points, but I'm not convinced they're going to do very well this year. Finally, onto the Caterham. Before I get some blood flowing back into my legs, the Caterham, I can understand why they've got 2 new drivers, in the sense that it's brand new rules and everything. Might as well have a brand new guy in, but I still think they should have taken Kovalainen. Now, considering Kovalainen didn't, well, granted he didn't do as expected in Lotus, he still did very well considering he'd done next to no running for the entire year. Just to be dropped in and drive, that was amazing. I don't understand the idea behind the Caterham design. If it works, then fine, that makes sense, but I can't see how it works. That makes sense. I could see how the Red Bull's design worked, I could see how the Brawn design used to work, I could see how some of the Williams designs worked. I just can't get my head around how the Caterham front end is meant to work. But if it works, it works. They need to get some points this year, but with the Renault disadvantage at the moment, probably not. On to Ferrari power. Now, Ferrari power seems to be quite consistent. Obviously not without its problems. But onto the Ferrari team itself, we've got Raikkonen and Alonso this year, which seems to be working well for them. It's going to be a strong partnership, particularly if they can do well. Although I'm not sure how Alonso is going to take it if Raikkonen does well. The design itself, it looks good, it makes more sense than the previous cars from what I can see. They've been consistent, maybe a bit anonymous for Ferrari in testing, but again it is testing, they're not meant to be ripping up the rulebook and going insane. Sauber, again very anonymous, not quite as phallic as some of the other cars that are on the grid. I hope they built a nice strong car like they have done in the previous few years, but we'll see. It's intriguing design. They retained Esteban Gutierrez and they've taken over Sutil. Sutil is a driver I've never been a massive fan of because he's been in F1 for a number of years. He started off with what was the Jordan team, but that was when it was Midland, then became Spiker, then Force India, and now it's Force India Ferrari, then Force India Mercedes. He's been a bit too anonymous for me, so he's got to do something special at Sauber this year for me to remain, well, for me to be convinced about him. But at the same time, he did need to change teams, so couldn't have come at a better time to change team with the massive rule change. And finally, Marussia, the other Ferrari power team. I was about to say Forcing, but that's not right. Marussia, the final Ferrari power team. Considering the problems Renault are having with the engine at this end of the year, Marussia have got to steal some points early before Renault or aerodynamic advantages made by Caterham or whatever team might be behind them, because it is a possibility that all the Renault cars could be behind Marussia. They've got to make their progress early, otherwise that's it, game over. Now the car looks nice and simple, like last year's design was. It looks simple. I can't say the car looks ugly because it actually looks very nice. For a change, they've retained the driver lineup. It's a good lineup. I think Jules Bianchi will be able to do very well with the car, but we have to wait and see. I can't say I was bowled over by Chilton last year, but he's got something in the sense that he was able to finish all the races, so who knows, we'll see. Mercedes power, the Mercedes power plant, the engine, whatever you want to call it, it's been the most strong in testing. The Mercedes team themselves, they set themselves up quite nicely to be the number 2 team last year. They're in a good position to be the number 1. Hamilton and Rosberg look nice and charged in the car. I'm sad that Ross Brawn's not ahead of the team, but we'll see how they do. Excuse whatever's going on outside. So they seem in a good place. Certainly, at least for pole position. Whether for the race win, I don't know. McLaren, no more Perez in the McLaren this year. I think it was a stupid move for him to go to McLaren in the first place. But they brought in Kevin Magnussen. I myself would have signed Hulkenberg, had Button and Hulkenberg together. Now, it's a big year for Kevin Magnussen to prove that he'd be taken seriously, that he's not just got lucky being dropped into a top car. So he's got a lot to prove. Button has got more to prove because he's had a couple of anonymous years. I hate to say that about him, but he's had a couple of years where he's just not been on it as much as I would have expected him to. I hope he changes. I would love for him to win the World Championship this year. That he's my Brit of choice to win. the championship, but we'll have to wait and see. McLaren looks like it's a step forward. I'm not convinced about the design, as in the paintwork and things. They should have gone for a nice orange, I think, but that's just aesthetics. That's not really a lot to complain about. On to Force India, who've also got a very phallic looking car. I don't know why they've got these appendages on the front. They were meant to have the brawn nose approach, which came along and went down and mounted onto the wing, instead of down, wing, wang, basically. So we'll see how they do. They've got Perez and Hulkenberg in their cars. It's a strong lineup. Hulkenberg, though, is in danger of being trapped in midfield teams. He's not. If he doesn't move forward soon, he's going to not be taken very seriously anymore, I don't think. Despite his enormous talent, he should have been. I would have signed him at McLaren for this year. Finally, on to Williams, my personal favourite team. I'm glad to see they signed Massa. That was a strong move by them. They've done a massive amount of restructuring. What I will praise Williams for, but above anything else, is getting Susie Wolff in for a couple of practice sessions in the year. I think that's fantastic. She deserves the opportunity, and she's worked damn hard to get where she is, and I would love to see how well she does against the clock in relation to everyone else. Now the car itself looks well designed. I love the way they've mounted the wing mirrors on the side pods. It looks a very clean designed car. They're meant to be getting some sponsorship from Martini, as in the classic, the only cars I can think of with Martini sponsoring, the 037, the Delta S4 and the Delta Integrale. But we'll see how they go. I would love for them to do well. They're certainly in a great position to be doing well. But we'll have to see. Now, finally, on to a couple of other points. One, the rumour that there's going to be an American F1 team. I think that's a fantastic move. Formula One's not been a truly global sport. I blogged about that ages ago. Formula One's been very much a European sport. The teams, the drivers, the manufacturers, the engines have all been European. It's fantastic that Japan are coming back in with Honda next year. That'll be amazing to see. But what's needed is an American team or an American engine supplier. Now, the new team that's meant to be coming in is meant to be being powered by Ferrari, or the rumour is it's going to have Ferrari power. Now, it'd be nice if they could bring back Cosworth, or come in with Ford under the EcoBoost brand, or maybe some subdivision of the Chrysler Dodge group, or GM that could come in. I'm not sure whatever team Cadillac, whatever team Corvette's going to work very well, but we'll see. But let's see how it turns out. As I said, it's something that's needed. America's a country with a lot of motorsport pedigree, with NASCAR, with IndyCar. Got home to the two of the largest auto giants in the world, with Ford and GM. So we'll see how they get on with their approach. And there's one more thing I'd like to mention: Twitter. Well, one, you can follow me at C190999, follow Russ at Road Race Parts. What I am sick to death of, and I will bring it up because I'm fed up of it, and every F1 weekend, anytime Top Gear's on or anything like that, I wish people would stop live tweeting it. You may have F1 in your Twitter name, you might be having a goal to get into Formula 1 one day, that's fine. But if I want to know what's going on in the race, I'll follow the BBC feed, I'll follow the Sky feed, I'll follow Autosport, I'll follow F1 Times, I'll follow GP Update, someone official like that. I know it's a lot to drop and be cross with. It seems nothing because it's the internet's a large celestial voice, but it's something that annoys me because they're the official feeds and they're official for a reason. So just stop it. You can blog about it. You can do what I'm doing as well. Do whatever you like, but stop live tweeting it, and particularly things like Top Gear as well, or any major sporting events. It's just a little annoying. Of course, if your favourite driver or team's crashed out or retired, of course you can comment, well, no, that's fine, but not the events leading up to it. Not someone's coming for a pit stop. Who's going to take the lead? That's just annoying me a lot. Anyway, I'll sign off this video before I lose all the blood in my knees, because I said I'm having to do this kneeling, try and use this red wall here, whatever I've turned it into, as a green screen. And just two further things. I wish Michael Schumacher would get well soon. I've not heard a lot of what's going on there, but Schumi, I was never a massive fan of yourself, but pull through for everyone. You hold a bunch of great records, so please do so. And also the floods in the UK. Hope you guys are all doing what you can to get back on an even keel. Let's hope it all goes well and gets back to normal as soon as possible. And let's wait the lights out in March when the start of the Grand Prix season begins. See you later.